Allow me to take you back to a place where all of human civilization and the next 6,000 years of human history began. You see, the first known civilization in our species' history was created by the people of ancient Sumer in about 4000 BC. The cities in ancient Sumer were the first states in human history and pioneered countless technologies that our entire civilization relies on today. Technologies such as writing, the wheel, the use of copper, a counting system, astronomy, astrology, and the state. But there is another important title the Sumerians may hold. The title of the smallest empire in human history. You see, the city-states of ancient Sumer fought wars against each other, they conquered and dominated each other like humans have always done. Cities like this were functionally mini-empires. And considering that Sumer was a lot smaller than our modern-day civilization, surely an empire in Sumer would have been much, much smaller than even most modern-day countries, and pretty much all of them would have had at least a candidacy for the smallest empire in human history. Lagash, for instance, only ever conquered about 50,000 square kilometers, which, for reference, is about this much on the map. It's actually smaller than Costa Rica. But surely we can find an empire that's smaller than 50,000 square kilometers. For example, modern-day Slovakia is 1,000 square kilometers smaller than what Lagash was at its height. And this commenter on this recent video recently pointed out to me an empire several orders of magnitude smaller than Lagash. In 1823, a brave band of rebels attempted to bring an end to 258 years of Spanish rule over the Philippines. In Manila, the capital city, Spain had been replacing troops from the colony with troops recruited directly from Spain in order to prevent revolt. And so the native Manilese, André Navales, was transferred out of the capital city. And he really didn't like this. So he returned to the city and put together an organization of rebels who were ready to drive the Spanish out of the Philippines for good. On the 1st of June 1823, Navales began his attack and took control of multiple key government buildings and the city cathedral. André Navales was declared Emperor of the Philippines, and crowds cheered in the streets for the end of Spanish rule in the Philippines. It couldn't last. Their attack stalled when André's own brother sided against him with the Spanish and held out against the rebels in Fort Santiago. Then, Spanish reinforcements showed up from Pampanga and retook all the lost buildings. On the 2nd of June 1823, just a day after the revolt began, 23 people were executed by the Spanish, including André Navales. Considering that at the height of his power, Navales controlled just a few streets, you might be tempted to say that Navales held the smallest empire in human history. And you'd be wrong. I have found you an empire far smaller than Navales could ever hope to achieve. It's so much smaller that you can't even quantify it, because double nothing is still nothing. You see, many people don't know that there was once a man who declared himself to be the Emperor of the United States. Some of you might think that I'm referring to Trump, and no. In my opinion, Trump probably isn't gonna declare himself the Emperor of the United States. He would probably prefer the term Führer. I am referring to a man named Joshua Norton, who, in 1859, declared himself the Emperor of the United States. Joshua was just a normal civilian who one day decided to say that he was the Emperor of the United States. He never ever attempted to take power or anything violently or peacefully, and he never really controlled any territory. He just went around calling himself the Emperor of the United States, and a few restaurants in California even began accepting currency that he had made with his own face on it. I assume the reason they started accepting Joshua Norton's currency was simply because that's the kind of thing that makes the news, and they were hoping the press would cover it and give them free advertising. Joshua Norton's Empire of the United States controlled exactly 0 square kilometers, giving him arguably the smallest empire in human history, at nothing. Of course, that didn't stop him from attempting to pass several decrees that he expected other people to follow. For example, in 1869, he attempted to dissolve both the Republican and Democratic parties of the United States, and said that anybody who didn't comply with this order would get 5 to 10 years in jail. Joshua would later take on the title of Protector of Mexico, and he would die in 1880 after being the Emperor of the United States for 21 years. So, that's my list of the smallest empires in history. If you have any other suggestions for really small empires, please tell me. Or if you have any other questions for me that you want me to answer, or video ideas, also please tell me in the comments. And genuinely please tell me, because I would like, in fact, I need the video ideas. Thanks for watching, bye!